And we are live. Hi, good evening, everybody. Welcome to She Built It Boss Lady Chronicles. I am Sharita Gaskins Follett. I am your host. And this is the show where we feature the stories of women who have dared to follow their dreams, who are making their lives what they want it to be, or helping other people to improve their lives. And I am super excited about tonight's guest. If you are watching us live, please say hi in the comments. Let us know where you're watching us from. If questions come up that you want to ask our guests, please feel free to put those in the comments as well. If you're watching the replay, hashtag replay. And I still want you to put your questions in the comments because I'll pass those questions on and I'm sure we'll get answers. Before we get started, two reminders. The first, this is Cultivate Confidence Month in the Boss Lady Dream Builders community. So in our Facebook group, every day we are looking at a new confidence skill. So if you are a purpose-driven woman who is looking to build her confidence, join us in the Facebook group. You won't be disappointed. And then the second thing is registration is open for a weekend for me, the premier wellness experience for professional women. This one, upcoming one, is taking place October 31st to November 3rd in Grand Cayman. Early bird registration is ending in 2 days. So if you want that early bird discount, you better get on in today or tomorrow because after Thursday, it's going to be gone. And I am personally pretty excited because I'm going to Grand Cayman tomorrow to do a site visit. So, so check in on my page. You'll get to see some sneak peeks of what the resort looks like. So let's jump into the show. And you guys know I got to put my glasses on to read bios now. So let's put these glasses on to introduce my guest. My guest tonight is Lisa Lake. Lisa is the executive director and co-founder of TELIC Empowerment. She received her Bachelor of Arts degree in psychology from Spelman College and a master's in education in applied behavior analysis from Arizona State University. She's been married to Chris Lake for the past 23 years, and they have 4 beautiful children. Lisa is a former special education teacher, behavior therapist, disability advocate, and parenting consult. She also serves as the family resource advocate at Inspire Pediatric Neurology and is the exceptional education parent mentor for the DeKalb County School District. She proudly serves on the state advisory panel for special education for the state of Georgia. Welcome, Lisa.
Hey, thank you for inviting me today. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm excited to be able to get a chance to tell you a little bit more about myself and what I'm doing, and let's chat.
I'm happy to have you and happy to talk with you as well. Lisa and I have a very good friend in common
Yes,
that
we do.
that we've had for many years. So shout out to Jess if you're watching us.
Hey, Jessie.
Yeah, that we've had in common for a long time. So so I've heard a lot about you tangentially. And we've met in person, but I was excited to learn more about your organization. But before we jump to that, I usually like to start with your kind of your backstory. So tell me a little bit about your background and how you came to do the work that you do.
Well, first and foremost, I am a mother. Like that is work number one, right? I'm a mom. I have these 4 children, and 3 of my children have a diagnosis. They're all different. And my sister, I have a sister with autism and a brother with intellectual disabilities, and it I think just growing up, I had kind of disabilities around
Yeah.
my life, and I was very sensitive to that. And and as I started to kind of get into the career field, I mean, I did graduate with a bachelor's in psychology, and I knew I wanted to do a field in psychology, in some sort,
Yeah.
and going down the route of doing education just seemed really natural. And I just was very geared to special education just right off the bat because, again, disabilities have just been a part of my life. And I really enjoyed the teaching. I did not enjoy the schedule because I had very small children. So,
Yeah.
so like being away from home is hard. It's hard when you have small kids,
Yes.
and then when you have small kids that are in therapies, and small kids that are having, to do all these special things that like the typical kids don't typically have to do. And so I did end up kind of switching positions and changing jobs and things like that because of my children and just wanting to make sure I'm at home and attentive and available and I could be there to do all the things. And so working as in doing like behavior therapy was something I could do easily because I could contract myself out to do that and make my own schedule and all that kind of stuff. And so so I think I just kind of like moved toward this direction of working with parent advocacy because of the pitfalls that I kind of ran into just parenting, just parenting is,
So tell us, I think the first thing I want to know is, um, tell us some of the pitfalls, but then there's something else I want to come back to as well.
okay. One of the things I think is difficult for parents to juggle, well, first of all, parenting is just a hard job in itself.
Yes.
We're not given instructions.
No.
We're not given, we don't go through class or whatever, those are those. So when you join this journey of parenting, it becomes something that you're learning kind of from on a day-to-day basis of like how to do, how do I do this? How do I raise this human being? And then the hard parts about that was trying to also be true to myself and not put everything into just raising this person when I had like really clear dreams and passions and things that I wanted to do for myself. And sometimes that's just put on the back burner.
Yeah.
Because you're just trying to make sure you're being a good mom or a good wife or,
Right.
And so I think that journey alone is one of the reasons why it was really important to me when we got ready to start this nonprofit that we were empowering parents. Because it was just very difficult juggling the parenting. I went back to school really late in life. I was like 40 when I went back to get my master's degree. So I had spent 40 years before just living my life, raising my children, going from job to job, just, kind of doing the things that I thought were the right things to do because I had a family. And so
Right.
Once I got that master's degree, finally, it was like time. Now it's time. I got some things that I want to do and I want to impact the world. And now my children were old enough that I had this ability now to do that. And
Yeah.
so I was just ready to go for it at that point. So
Well, I love that. I love number one that you held on to that dream. But the other thing that I really like in this story is that you set your priorities and you stay true to your priorities because there are a lot of women who, you, especially us professional women, like you get caught up in your career and
yeah,
it gets a little bit murky in terms of the prioritization. And a lot of times you find that the family ends up taking the back seat or you don't give yourself permission even to make the family the priority, that somehow you'll be looked at as less than in the professional world. And so
right.
I love that you prioritized your family from the outset. And then once you had your family at a certain place, then you said, okay, family's good. Now I can start doing these other things. But that you always kept your priorities in mind, but didn't give up on your dream. So
Yeah.
I really like that. So how is it you think that came to be like, who were your role models? Who did you see that did that kind of thing? Because again, navigating the professional world, and you almost feel like you're getting behind if you're
Right.
not out there and you're not growing. And I assume in education, they want you to be doing research and publishing and all of these kinds of things. I also have a psych degree, so I know a little bit about that. Um,
Girl.
so they want you to be doing all these things, but it seems like you managed to be true to yourself.
I had a lot of the feelings of I am not doing the thing that everybody else was doing career wise, that I was just behind on my career.
Mm.
I initially graduated wanting to go straight into grad school, get my career going, make the big salary, and then settle down. Right.
Yeah.
That was my goal before I met my husband, married like within a year we were married, It's
Yeah.
quick. And then like 6 months later, I'm pregnant with my first child. So clearly my
Right.
plan did not go the way I thought. Um, but I think one of the things that really helped me with just remembering that my family was just so important to me was my parents. My mom, very hard worker, very she stayed at home. She
Mhm.
stayed at home when I was younger. She would babysit other kids and stuff, and but she was just there, and then I really, like, that was valuable. That was valuable
Mhm.
to me to be able to do that for my children. It was valuable. So we sacrificed, I mean, we didn't have lots of money, with one income. I mean, it's hard with one income,
Right.
multiple kids, but like, that was important to me to be able to do that. And I kind of had to get over the fact that my time was not now for my career, and I had to delay it. I had to delay it. It wasn't gone. It was just delayed.
Right. Sure.
So, and my kids were, they had a lot of needs at first, and so there was just a greater responsibility for me to be at home, and just I just needed to do that. So I mean, it was definitely hard choices, but I don't regret now that
Right. Right. So
you
now
know.
how did you keep the dream alive? Because I know there are many women who say, okay, at a certain point I'm going to go back to school, but they
Yeah.
don't ever go back to school. So how
I
did you keep that fire?
I also thought I wasn't going to go back to school for a long time, just because you're in this like routine of, I gotta I get up, I do this, I get my children out of school, I fix dinners, I shop, I clean. You get into that routine, and um, I the reason we got this nonprofit started is because I was on a PTA. I had become incredibly involved
Okay.
in my kids' school because that was life.
Yes.
And so I joined my school's PTA, became the president, and then me and another mom were co-presidents. I mean, we were just go-getters with this PTA. Like, we're gonna do this thing. But um, I think looking and finding other like-minded women who were just as, like, career-minded, but they were in this place right now in a season where they were raising their children too, just like I was. But they
Mhm.
still had these aspirations of doing more, and doing something else. I think that was one thing, was finding other women.
Yeah.
And two, I think it was just seeing that this is just a short period of my life. Like, this child rearing period is actually pretty short in comparison to
It
the
goes
depth.
so fast.
Yeah. Yeah, it goes fast. I mean, I have two adult kids right now. I mean, it's just crazy that I have two adult children, and two in high school. And so it's like, it was literally something of, let's get the kids through this period, and then it's going to be time for me to focus on me and get some things I want to get done. So yeah, it's a hard thing, but you can do this.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, you
It's
can you can
doable.
keep your you can manage to maintain your focus and get back to the things that so the other things that are also important to you. So I
Absolutely.
want to transition a little bit and actually talk about TELIC. First, tell us what it stands for.
Yeah.
Tell us what you guys do, and then a little bit more about the why behind the organization.
Sure. So TELIC is a actual word. It's an acronym for what we do, but it's actually a Greek word that means moving forward towards a goal with purpose. But the acronym for TELIC means teach, empower, listen, include, and care. And that acronym is also our mission. And so we are teaching, empowering, listening, including, and caring for special needs families. And that mission for us really became something that has defined our entire organization, with our goals, our programs, our events. It's all kind of centered around that mission. The reason we really started the organization was, again, I was on a PTA, and my co-president She literally just called me a few years after we had done this PTA and said, "Do you want to start a business?" We did so good running
Mm,
this PTA like a
okay.
business at this school that she just called me up one day and said, "We should just do a business together." And I said no.
Okay.
And I said no. And do you know, she called me probably two more times after that. And the
So why
third,
did you say no?
I wasn't ready. I
Okay.
wasn't ready. My children were not in a good space where I could focus on something else. I think the second time she called me, I was like right in this middle piece of getting my master's degree, and I was working full time. I was getting the master's. It was chaotic. Um, and then the third time she called, I had finished all of that, and I was just like, you know what? Yep.
Yeah. Let's do this.
Let's do this, And so we pulled together people from our PTA that had worked with us. We started making phone calls and just saying, like, you know what? You're a mom too. Do you want to do this business with us? Um, and what ended up happening is four of us came together and said yes. And all four of us were like, hands down, no questions, no qualms, no queries. Absolutely, let's do it. None of us have a business degree.
And
none of
that's
us none of us had started
challenging.
an organization. None of us had done anything like this. But we had a shared goal. We were like-minded, and we had a very passionate mission. Like, we all had a child with a disability, and we all knew that this was something that we wanted to be able to help other families like navigate. We wanted to be able to help other families find resources and support, and to find a supportive network and a community that would embrace them and their children.
Yeah.
We knew, that everything that we were missing, we wanted to now provide it. And um, because we had been living this mission, and this, we kind of did this mission between the four of us first, empowering each other, teaching each other, listening to each other, caring for each other. We had done this amongst the four of us, and we were like, why can't we create a
Right.
business that can do this and expand it out to lots of people? Why
Yeah.
can't we do
Yeah.
that? And
The fact that you guys asked that question, that's really important because I think it's Tony Robbins who says that the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your questions. And, I often think about the fact that we don't ask enough questions and we don't ask the right questions. We
yeah,
kind of decide this is the way it is, this is the way it's going to be, instead of saying why not. So I love that you guys said, well, why not? Why can't we do this?
yeah,
And you could have had a million reasons not to, right? We don't have business degrees. We don't, none of us has ever run a business. We don't know what we're doing.
no,
So,
we haven't.
you could have easily kind of, bowed out based on those things. But, I love that you asked those questions and decided to move forward.
Yeah, yeah. And it was not the passion between the four of us for this particular mission. Um, that part was not the hard part for us. The hard part was everything about running a business. It was
Yes.
not doing the work, though. Doing the work, because we were purely running on passion. We knew we
Yes.
wanted to do a support group. We started a support group right away. Like, immediately. We started a support group. We knew that we wanted to help families find resources. Immediately we created a website, and we got a phone number, and we were like, okay, call us, we're going to help you find resources. That passion was, it was strong. It still is,
Mhm.
and that was great, because that's really what was like propelling us to move forward and jump out there and do fundraising and tell people, to partner with
Right.
us, and you know what I mean, join our cause. And I mean, that's the thing that the four of us collectively being a team. So, like, finding a team of people, because I could not have started this business alone. This was
Yeah.
not a solo business. This was not I'm just going to get out there and do something and I'm going to make it happen. Nope.
Well, I think when you're doing something new and in something a little bit scary, it's always better to do it with friends, or at least people who are, people that are like-minded, who
Yeah.
can help you, or even if they're not doing it with you, that at least you have that community and that support group,
Yeah.
to be a sounding board and to, cheer you on and keep you inspired and,
Yeah.
not afraid.
Right.
Because
Right.
it's scary. The world is
It
scary.
is.
Even
It
even after
is.
you have all these degrees and everything, it's still a scary place. And doing something new is never comfortable.
No.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah. And I
So
think,
I'm wondering, Lisa, what were some of the gaps in the system that you guys were seeing kind of regularly? And then what are the things that you have put in place that are helping people to bridge those gaps?
absolutely. So the first thing is resources. There is a huge gap in education for parents, so that they can know what's out there for them, services, supports, information for parents. When you have a child with a disability, you get that diagnosis, then it's just a now what?
Okay.
Like, what do I do next? And just like there's not like an entity that really tells you the next, do this, contact this
So
place.
so so hold
Yeah.
on. So when your pediatrician, I'm gonna say pediatrician
Yep.
or whoever gave you the diagnosis, they
Yep.
don't then say, see these people or give you, here's this pamphlet, or it's just you
Well,
got this
this is what
diagnosis.
they
Good luck.
do. Well, this is
Okay.
what they do. They give you the diagnosis, right? They tell
Uh-huh.
you something that is incredibly heartbreaking,
Right. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because now we're
Yeah.
talking about your baby, right? That's got something that might be life impacting, that may not ever change, that nothing may cure. There may not be a cure
Right.
to. And what we found was that medical providers can give medical advice, which is great. They can give
Yeah.
medical advice and they can give prescriptions and they can even tell you to go to another medical person, but they don't normally have enough knowledge about community resources that are out there for families, support groups, for families to be able to connect into, and then just like community services, like funding sources. There's a wealth of things that parents usually don't realize until after they've gotten this diagnosis they're going to need, that they're just going to need, like
Like what?
getting the medical therapy is one thing, getting devices,
Mm.
getting opportunities, for your child to be able to go to certain like specialty things like camps and or getting just the chance to be able to meet other parents sometimes is incredibly hard because you don't know where other parents are at. You
Yeah.
just
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
don't know how
Yeah.
to find them. You don't know how to find them. It's not like going to school and you're just like, oh yeah, I'll just come to this PTA meeting and there's just going to be a bunch of parents that are just like me. A lot of times there's not. Like
Right.
there's
Right.
it is hard to find, it's hard to find parents that have like a similar diagnosis as your child might have. And many times it's just finding the supports, it's finding additional nonprofits or additional community providers that provide something that you could take advantage of. um, One of the things we provide is we do customized resources. So when parents get that diagnosis and the doctor says, "Okay, here's,"
Oh, I think we lost her. Um, let's give her a minute to see if she comes back. But I believe that TELIC is doing really great work in terms of providing those resources and bridging those gaps. And one of the things that I want to ask Lisa about, you guys know I'm a physician, and one of the things that I do want to ask her about when she comes back is, what their plan is to maybe share those resources, because us in the physician community, we know that we are overwhelmed with all of the responsibilities and things that are put on doctors, but it's not that we don't want to be informed or we don't want to help. And so I think it would be great if they are able to share those resources with the medical community, the people who are making those diagnoses, so that they can then begin to share um, share the resources with the families at the time of the diagnosis. So maybe there isn't that lag and that delay. And while the families may be dealing with the heartbreak of the diagnosis, they are still able to get the resources that they need in a timely fashion. And maybe it's not as scary, as daunting, if you know that there's actually a community that's out there for you, that's ready to support you. So, and like I said, with her story, I absolutely love that. Oh, she's back. Hold on. Here she comes.
Okay, I have no
Welcome
idea what
back.
happened. I have no idea what happened right now.
It's okay.
All of a sudden, it just
It's
went
okay.
black. I was like, what just happened?
That's exactly what happened on my end. But I just kept talking. And one of the things, so one of the things that I said while you were gone is one of the questions I wanted to ask you was whether or not you guys have plans of maybe sharing those resources with the medical community. Because, as a physician, I know how overwhelmed we
Yeah,
are. And
yeah,
you're right, we don't always know about the community resources and other things. But, if there's a way to share that information, it may not be the doctor directly, but at least the pediatrician's office would have, a pamphlet or a binder or whatever that they could present at the time of the diagnosis, and maybe it won't be nearly as daunting and scary for parents.
yeah, absolutely. That's actually one of the things that we are striving to do is to get our information out. I mean, because right now we are providing medical resources, independent living resources. Our organization serves ages 3 to 30. So it's a really wide gap of services between those ages. And many of the older children, when they're aging out of high school and they have a special need, they are changing a lot of services. There's a lot of things they're losing therapy wise, and so it's very difficult at that point. They need their parents need to be talking about guardianship, and
Yeah,
that kind of thing as well. That's not always discussed with the pediatrician because there's just not as much information
sure.
that they can give to just help them navigate the right decision that needs, they need to make or whatever. And um, so we're definitely constantly trying to find ways to provide education for the community, but also just to get our information into the hands of places that may come in contact with a parent or a child with a disability. And we do have brochures and we have handouts and things like that that we can give medical providers and really schools too, because schools, like,
Yes.
parents are very reliant on teachers on their because their child is there for like 8 10 hours a day.
Oh
Their
yeah,
child is
yeah,
coming in
for sure.
contact with their teacher, with their teacher in their school. And so sometimes the school even just has limited resources of what they can provide and just limited time to be
Yes.
able to do like these one-on-one, because we provide a one-on-one customized kind of intake process. And we're helping families really learn what they're missing, where are those gaps in services and coverages and things like that. And then even helping them understand processes, special education. These are the processes. This is what an individual education plan looks like and what you should expect. There are a lot of parents that are just completely unknowledgeable, and because
Mhm.
it's incredibly overwhelming just doing
Sure.
the parenting, just the
Yes.
day-to-day parenting.
Right.
You know
Keeping
what I
them
mean?
alive, just to keeping them
I'm
fed and
just keeping them
alive.
alive
Right.
every day. Okay, I'm just keeping it alive. That it is a lot. It is a lot to try to also learn all of the things, that need to happen as well. And school is a really big one. And so we're hosting monthly support groups with that in mind, and we're providing education every month. We're creating a new topic every month of what we're going to focus in on. We're inviting providers to come in, professionals to come in, tell parents about what you do, how you do it, why you do it, what you can provide. And then we're really trying to help bridge some of those gaps with the education piece is really, a big one. And some of it is just access to resources. Like, we serve 9 counties, and some of those counties are rural. So
Mhm.
just having the resource is one thing,
Sure.
does my county even provide it,
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes you're in counties that don't even provide it. So,
So,
helping parents get access is another one. Yeah.
so where do you see the organization going and growing? I guess
Going
that's
and
exactly
growing? I know.
growing and growing, because I guess in my mind, all I see is like growing, because there's so much in there. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
my wheels always start turning.
Yeah.
And
Well,
as you're talking, I'm just thinking about all the different things, all the different ways that to serve. And
yeah.
so, what's your vision for where you guys are going?
Well, our vision, so like I said, there's four of us that started the organization. So I'm a co-founder. I'm the executive director, but I'm also, a co-founder. And one of the things that we do, we develop strategic plans, and, we do short-term goals, we do long-term goals. And right from the beginning, the first thing that we said we wanted to do was, we're based in Atlanta, Georgia. I don't know if I said that, but we're based in the Atlanta area in Georgia. And um, we wanted to become a state organization. So we're not just serving just a small population somewhere. We wanted to be able to cover the entire state of Georgia and provide services. And that goal is a goal that is, it's a long-term goal, but it's really just a stepping stone for us, because becoming the state organization is one thing. Then we want to replicate this organization so that other states will have a TELIC empowerment as well.
Okay.
The big goal is take over Georgia, take over United States, and then just take over the world, right? And so,
There we go.
go global after
Okay.
that. We're just gonna have TELIC in Europe and China and Africa. Like we really want to get really good groundwork and getting a really firm base here in Atlanta, in this Atlanta area. This 9 county radius is actually Atlanta area counties, because Atlanta is
Okay.
very large. The metro area of Atlanta is very large.
Yeah.
So we feel like we're only covering a small piece, right now.
Mhm.
But again, we're 6 years old. We have done a lot of work in 6 years. We have developed multiple programs. We have a financial program as well. We're providing financial assistance to families and that are just in crisis and in need, and their insurance won't cover this device. The insurance won't
Okay.
cover this wheelchair. The insurance won't cover, this specialty
Yeah.
camp or specialty diet item that they need, and the insurance won't cover it. And now they need it. So we developed this emergency financial fund for that, for things that are like that. And sometimes it's just providing a bill to cover for electricity. Sometimes it's food,
Yeah.
so it's like we're trying to meet whatever the needs are. And it's fun. Like it's that program. It's our resource program where we're providing these custom resources. And it's our parent empowerment program where we're empowering these parents monthly to really get educated. Our base. That's the thing that
Mhm.
we want to be able to replicate. We want every county in the state to have access to this particular type of service, and then we just want to be able to do this in other states across the United States as well. And so that's
Sure.
that's just the basic.
Yeah, I told you I saw growth. I saw it growing.
That's the basic goal. Yeah, that's the
Going and
basic goal.
growing. So now you mentioned a custom resource plan.
Yeah,
So if I have a child with let's say autism and I come to you,
yeah.
do you guys sit down with the family individually and kind of go through what they have available to them, what they're aware of, and then fill in some of those gaps?
We do. So
Okay.
what we do, it's called a resource referral service, and
Okay.
parents, they can go online on our website at www.telecempowerment.org, and they just fill out a request. So they fill out a custom request that says, this is my situation, this is the type of resources I'm looking for, and I can't find, or this is just what it is that's going on with me. We have a resource director who gets those requests, filters through them. She does an intake with those families that's custom, like it's one-to-one. She's
Yeah.
calling them, she's meeting them in person, but she's doing an intake with them to get all the background information that's needed. We do the research for what the need is, and then she's also educating families and providing information. And she's probing through to see like what all is missing. Do you have insurance coverage? Do you have a waiver, that's covering for funding? Do you have, and then we're trying to help fill in those gaps at that point once, after they complete the intake process. So
And then
that's,
all of your services are free of charge to the families.
yeah, everything is free of
Okay,
charge to the family. So we don't want to burden the family financially.
sure, sure. So then
We
where do
don't.
you get your money from? Because you got to pay the people that are doing the research, and you got to get the money to pay to help them pay for the wheelchair. Where's this money coming from, Lisa?
So money, listen, we are a nonprofit. We are a
Okay,
nonprofit. The reason we're not profiting off of our families is, one, because we want to serve these families. We
sure.
want families to benefit from what we're doing. We don't want to provide that extra financial burden, but we are heavily reliant on individual donors, corporate sponsors, and grants. It is what has carried us the last 6 years, and we have had some really, really good donors that have just, I mean, really loved what we were doing and donated thousands of dollars to our programs and to help us kind of keep this going. Partnerships and sponsorships have been a big contributor, really linking up with some of these big corporations that are bigger than us, and getting grant funding from them too, has helped us to be able to keep this no cost to families
Sure,
kind of
sure.
mindset. Yeah. And I mean, there's more ways that we could do this. Like, we don't take insurance for anything. We just don't have like a fee right now
Right,
that we're
sure.
charging, that we're charging families. But I mean, we have definitely looked into being able to take waiver funds or state funds that, so
Right.
again, would not pay out of their pocket kind of thing. But it's a hustle for us. I mean, we have to
Yeah.
fundraise. We have to fundraise.
So
We,
if we're interested in contributing, how do we do
yeah,
that? The
you
part,
can do it.
partnering with you in any way, like if somebody has a business and they want to
Yep.
come alongside you, or an individual wants to donate, how do we do that?
Oh my gosh. Go directly to our website. We have everything on this website. We have a donate tab. We have a sponsor tab. We have a volunteer tab for organizations, businesses, or individuals who just want to come and pitch in, a couple of hours doing something, working at one of our programs, doing something. Our donation buttons, our donation link also has custom links. If you wanted to just donate to that parent empowerment program, because you're like, man,
Ah,
I love that part. I love what they're doing here. Give my money to go there. We have custom links on our donate tab for each of the programs. We have recurring donors that, for people who are like, I just want to give my $5 every month. Fantastic.
mhm, mhm.
So there's lots of ways to give to us. And then we also accept in-kind donations. Like, we have received a lot of donations in the form of food or devices, or we've got a wheelchair
Mm,
ones.
okay.
We've got tickets. Like, some people, some places have donated tickets so our families could go to the botanical gardens or to the zoo or whatever.
Mhm, mhm.
And we've done events like that because we've received tickets. And so
Sure.
um, there's a multitude of ways for people to give if they're interested. But our website has it all. I mean, we have
And
stacked this.
you guys will get the website. I will make sure that it's in the comments. Definitely go and check it out, especially if you're in the Atlanta area and you are in need of resources.
Yeah.
Definitely plug in with them. Wherever you are, Atlanta area or anywhere else, and you want to be a support, go on to the website and donate or partner, sponsor, whatever it is that you're able to do. I'm sure they would appreciate that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it definitely is something that we've had to overcome, the fact that we have to have money.
Sure.
We have to have
That little pesky problem, right?
we were so okay running off of passion, right? We're just like, look, we're
Yes,
passionate about this thing. We're just going to do it. Forget this money part. But we have had to humble ourselves and utilize consultants and utilize systems. We had to develop systems. We had to create habits that were professionally and corporately sound and business savvy, that we, some of this stuff, we're not the fun parts, of running a
Yes.
business is not the fun part. But it is responsible for us, it's the parts that we've had to learn that were, it's a requirement,
Yeah.
it's just a requirement, and so it has been defining for us as we have gone through these 6 years, learning how to run this organization, and how to make it better and better every year. So we're still learning how to do this better.
You guys are blazing the trail for those who are going to
Thank
come behind you to, partner in this kind of work in these other states or other countries,
thank you so
other
much. Yeah.
places. So, you're getting the systems in place. So I applaud you. Like I said, I applaud you for having the courage to step out of that comfort zone for sure, to do something completely different because, you had your degree. You could have just continued to work, and
I mean, but that's the thing,
you
Sharita,
know,
like all of us actually still work. So it's
yeah.
what's
But I mean, just work. You could have
Oh
just
no.
worked.
Oh yeah. No, we could have just worked. I mean, until this business can pay for, like, and we do this voluntarily. So the four of
Sure.
us are volunteering to do this organization in addition to us all working outside of the home to, just provide income for our own households. Um, but this is by far the passion, the goal that we want, is just to be able to full-time work for the organization, because this is worth it. Like, it's valuable to us to be able to do this
For
type of
sure.
impact, and this type of work. And so that's another long-term goal for us. It's just
Right.
working for TELIC Empowerment, like that is a goal. And not having to work any other job, because I mean, it's time, it takes time to build anything that is worth having. And so,
For sure.
um, yeah, so it's been a great opportunity for us, to really, like, create a model. Like, that's kind of what we're doing now, is we're just like
Yeah.
creating model, that, and it's been a lot of opportunities for us to just learn, and, like, constantly learn, learn about business, learn about each other, learn about how to run a business, how to work with people, how to communicate the clear vision, a
Yeah.
clear mission, learning how to research and get data, you know,
Yes,
learning
because
how to collect data.
because the big donors are going to want that,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. They want numbers. Yeah, they want numbers. And we got to have good research to back up what we do, and just learning how to simplify everything that we're doing so it's easy to understand, and
Mhm.
there's no confusion about what we're doing, why we're doing it, how we're doing it, and so we're building a brand here that we want to
Yes.
last. It's
Well,
it's
you
been
guys
a
are doing a phenomenal job and meeting a tremendous need. So, congratulations on that. And I wish you guys the most success, as you go forward. So we're just about out of time. But there's one last question that I would like to ask you. So if there is a woman who is in the position that you found yourself, let's say 8 years ago, so where you're not, you haven't gone back to school yet. Your focus is your family. You're not sure that you're going to go back to school yet, but you know that you have this dream. You know that there's more for you. You feel the more inside. What's the one piece of advice that you would give that woman?
I would just say, start writing the vision. Start writing it. Start mapping out that dream. Start putting it on paper. Make that thing something you can look at, see, and you can start to, formulate. Because that dream, I mean, big or small, I mean, we had a huge dream. We actually started out really big. Just, we're gonna take over the world.
Right, right,
And then we started narrowing the dream down to manageable
right,
sizes.
right. Well,
But
manageable, but it can still, get back to
yeah,
the big tree. Yeah.
Yeah, but start writing it down, because the more you can define what that dream is, what that goal is, what the role is, what the mission, what the mission is, what your part is, and you start putting together, like, well, what key players would I need to make this thing happen,
Yeah.
and what type of people do I need to have on my team so that I
Yeah.
could make this dream a reality, but you got to start somewhere. You got to get it written, get it
Yeah.
down, get it out of your head, get it out of your head, get it somewhere where you can see it, where it's tangible, and where you can really start to develop that dream way before you even, make a move on it.
Yeah.
just,
Yeah. Yeah.
just get it,
Well, we
get it.
always talk about clarity. Clarity is the first step. Clarity is always the first step.
Yeah. Yeah. And really know your strengths and your weaknesses, because, um if, like, we knew we were not business minded. We didn't have a business background, right? Like, none of us did. So we knew that right off the bat, that, oh, we don't have a business background. That is not one of our strengths. We were going to
Mhm.
need consultants, and we were going to need people who did know,
Yeah.
because we wanted to build this right, and so knowing the parts that you're really good at, knowing the parts that you're just like, oh, let me find somebody else who's good at that, being super honest with that, honest with yourself, about how can I actually implement this? What is the bandwidth for me to do this? Is this even the right time? Because maybe
Yeah.
it's just the time to get the dream on paper and get it written down, and then the implementation part might come a year later, 2 years later, but you will have sat down and actually outlined out, these are all the things that I need. Start researching that dream. Who's
Yeah.
doing it? Who's doing
Right.
it? Who
Yeah.
is doing your dream right now?
Right. Right. And follow them because
Yeah, get
success
that data.
success leaves clues. Yeah.
Yeah,
Follow them. See what they're doing.
don't reinvent the wheel, because if that dream is something that you've seen another person do, start that research and look and see where did they start, how did they put this together, and be willing to ask those questions, because there's so much that you don't really have to, you may not even have to do, like, it may not
Right.
be as difficult as you think,
Right.
once you
Yeah.
start the research, once you start the
Sure.
research. Yeah. And
Yeah.
just
All
don't
the
be afraid.
answers are already out there. They're always
They're out,
already there.
they're out there. And don't be afraid to start small. One
Yeah.
thing, you know what I mean? Start doing a single thing, like one piece,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
just
That's
start
it. You just move small steps
small
and
steps,
eventually you get where you're going.
yeah, they turn into big ones. And really, like, once you find your people, you start putting that team together. It's one at a time, start putting that team together. And I'm telling you, the next thing you know, you're doing the dream, and so but it does take some time, and definitely um, be okay with being able to wait for the big picture to come to pass. You got to have small goals and big goals. You got to have short
Yeah.
term goals
Yeah.
and long term goals.
Exactly.
You got,
Exactly.
you can't
Exactly.
jump to the long term one right away. You got to
Right.
start, with that short
Yeah.
one.
No, you're
But
right. No, I think that's a mistake that a lot of people make is that you look at somebody else maybe and you're seeing, chapter 55 of
yeah,
their story and
yeah,
you're thinking that there's something wrong with you when you're only in chapter 2.
right.
Not recognizing that they actually went through all of those steps and had all of those growing pains that you're having too.
Yeah, yeah. And
But
sometimes you gotta step back to step forward. So I mean, we've done that multiple times now. we, have,
yeah,
we have had to go back and then go forward, cut this and then add, and so
yeah, yeah,
and it's just a part of growing and learning and developing, like, your actual program, or whatever you're trying to put together. You've got to, sometimes you just got to step out there and try,
yes, yes. No, you're
and,
right. You're right.
and then learn from that step,
Right.
and then learn
Right.
from the step back if you got to, but it is, there's so many things that I wish that moms or just women in general would feel the confidence, the empowerment, the capability. Like this is one thing that's huge for us. We're called TELIC Empowerment because that is a huge component, is
Yes.
empowering families. We're really trying to get these families to develop that level of confidence that they can get out here and take care of their
Yes.
children. They can advocate for themselves. They can advocate for that child. They really can do it. They're capable, and this is not impossible. There's not,
Yes.
these are impossible dreams here, you know. And so that's something that you've got to get the right people in your circle, because you need that like-minded individual to help you stay
Yes.
focused, on the goals. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining me tonight. Thank you again for the wonderful work that you're doing.
Oh,
Again, guys, if you're interested in being sponsors, if you're interested in donating, we're going to put the website in the comments. Please check them out. Please support them. If you need resources and you're in the Atlanta metro area, also check them out. But it's been my pleasure to have you this evening, Lisa. I love learning more about the organization, and I look forward to being able to support you in the future. And I am excited about all the wonderful places you guys are going.
thank you, Sharita, so much for having me on here. This was so much fun, and I really do appreciate the opportunity.
You're very welcome. So that's it for tonight, guys. Again, if you're wanting to cultivate your confidence, join us in the Boss Lady Dream Builders Facebook group. And if you are looking for a party with a purpose, is what I'm going to call it tonight, a retreat where I'm calling it kind of a self-care slash personal development retreat, where we actually get in touch with that we talk about that clarity. We gain the clarity of what it is that we want, and then we start making steps, making plans to move from where we are to where we want to be, because we want to maximize this one life. You don't want to get to the end of your journey and have a lot of regrets about the things that you didn't do, the things you weren't able to do, because the reality is you have the power already. Everything that you need is inside of you to do everything you were created to do. So I would love to host you in Grand Cayman. The website is let's see what it is. Actually, you can just go to weekendforme.com because I fixed it so that it all goes to one place. So weekendforme.com is the easy one. That you can find it there. If you have questions, feel free to DM me. I'm happy to talk to you. And early bird pricing ends on Thursday. So that's it. Take care, guys. We'll see you next week. Thanks again, Lisa.
Bye, guys.